what do you guys think about this whole case, and what do you think about how both sides kind of opened up the trial? Like, do you think that it was kind of tasteless?
I think it was tasteless?
Yeah.
After the back and forth, constant, all this stuff, it would not surprise me in the least if this whole thing resulted in a hung jury.
Yeah.
And then what are they going to do? Start over again?
And Michael, for those who, can you explain the concept of a hung jury and what
a hung jury is what happens when a jury cannot, when typically you hear a verdict of guilty or not guilty, that means all of the people on the jury agreed on that outcome. So a hung jury is when a jury is not able to agree. There's a preponderance where they're not able to agree that, yes, someone is guilty or innocent. So then that's when you have a hung jury. When the jury cannot come to a unanimous decision, then they either have to start over or cut the person loose. So,
but who decides it, though?
The prosecution. The prosecutors usually decide on it, on how they're going to handle that, because it's not a conviction, but it's not an acquittal either. So, double jeopardy standard doesn't apply to that. Usually at that point, the prosecution decides on what's in the best interest for the public and what's the best interest at hand and how to proceed from there. But it'd be, I don't know, some of those really big, expensive cases like that, some of them have gotten to be where they'll try them again. But then there's been others where they've said, nope, we're just going to let it go at that and we're not going to try it anymore. So that's kind of how it's all went. But it wouldn't surprise me either way.
And can you kind of see where the second-degree murder would come into play, possibly?
I can see where all of it can come into play. As far as the second degree, I'm not super up on Florida's standards for the degrees, on how they consider those. I know that's looked at a little different state by state, but, still it is a murder charge. I believe usually a second degree is commonly labeled as one of those that you would get life in prison for, not necessarily death penalty, which I'm not even certain if Florida has a death penalty, but anyway, that's, I don't know, there's a whole lot of variables, but it wouldn't surprise me. I don't know, I think you're going to see one hell of a show out of this trial, and we'll probably, I think, through most of it, be sitting here shaking our heads going, seriously, did they really just do that?
Yeah. And I'm really wondering how long they're going to drag this out. I really don't think this is not going to be one of those over-the-night type of things. Like, it's not going to be like, wham, bam, thank you, man. I think this is going to be something that's going to drag out for a while. So, if you're looking for something that's just going to be, don't get your hopes up. If you think this is going to be a trial that's going to be over and done with overnight, it's not going to be one of those trials. It's just not.
Right.
So,
I don't feel either.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to drag on as long as some people think, but still I think it's not going to be an over and done sort of thing.
Yeah. And I think it's going to change the face of a lot of things, and how we really look at not only just race and other, but just about the laws of self-defense. It's just a lot of things are going to come out of this, I think. A lot of ways of people thinking about certain issues and possibly future laws that are passed. But you still with us, JR?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm just listening right now.
Okay. So what do you feel about the whole situation? I mean, and about how things started off in the trial and how the the prosecution and the defense handled themselves in court.
Well, if you remember correctly, I ended up a few shows back saying how when this trial starts, it's going to get ugly. It's going to get real ugly.
Oh, yeah.
Because the defense's job is to discredit, what the facts of the prosecution, to put doubt, reasonable doubt. Okay? So you're going to hear all these things about Trayvon Martin that are going to come out, like he smoked weed 3 days earlier. You're going to hear all these things come out. It's going to be a lot of mudslinging to try to break the character of Trayvon Martin. The facts are very simple, though. Trayvon Martin was a teenager. Okay? That everything was recorded. The entire event was recorded through the 911 dispatcher. That Zimmerman was told by the 911 dispatcher not to engage. He engaged. He fired. A kid died. It's that simple. Now, unfortunately, it won't be that simple in the court of law. The defense is going to come out, the prosecution is going to come out. They're going to bring out, we're going to learn every last little detail about George Zimmerman, about how he was shot down. He wasn't accepted to go to the police academy for failing a psychiatric evaluation. We'll be hearing these things. How, he might have ate one too many burgers and he wasn't physically fit. You know what I'm saying? All these things are going to,
oh, Lord.
All these things are going to come out. But it's going to get extremely ugly. The only people I feel bad for is the family of Trayvon Martin. And the reason why is because they're going to have to relive all this. They're going to have to listen to the mudslinging coming in from the defense's side.
Yeah.
And, no kid is perfect. God knows I got a couple of screw-ups in my house. But, when it comes to it, anything happened to any of my kids, hell or high water wouldn't keep me from freaking going after the guy that done it.
Mm-hmm.
If you ask my version of justice would be put Trayvon Martin's mom in a dark room with George Zimmerman for 20 minutes and let her do whatever the hell she wants to him. Just turn a blind eye to it.
Mm.
Don't be wasting time putting them behind bars for life where the taxpayer's going to be paying on average of $85,000 a year to house them, feed them, and all that. Don't be wasting my time. No. Wait, we need to go back to these things because there's a fine line of responsibility.
Yeah.
And George Zimmerman was the adult in here. It doesn't matter if Trayvon came after him. Look, my oldest stands 6'8". Okay,
Lord.
and I've taken a punch from him. And it doesn't affect me the way it would someone his age. There's a fine difference between a teenage strength and adult strength. There's a very fine difference. And, let's say Trayvon went after him with a rock or a cinder block or a brick or whatever the hell it was, okay? What he saw was Zimmerman coming with a handgun. The kid's got a right to defend himself by whatever means necessary. All he sees is this guy coming towards him with a handgun. God knows I wouldn't. I'd find the nearest hard thing I could and give it hell. The only two people that know what happened that night were Trayvon Martin and George Zimmerman. And unfortunately, we'll never hear Trayvon Martin's side of it all.